Hey maggots, and welcome to our holiday cooking series. Now, hopefully you're gonna find this both informative and entertaining, kind of like our show, except for the part when Dawn talks. We call that filler. So here's the idea. Whether you've been doing this forever or you've never done it, entertaining and cooking for groups of people is intimidating to everyone and nerve-wracking. Even people like me that have been doing it for 25 years. It's exhilarating, but you're still anxious and nervous. You want to get everything right. If you're a novice, if you're nervous, if you've never hosted before, I promise you, if you follow my recipes and instructions, everything's going to be fine. Now, if you're a little more advanced, make it fun. That's what cooking is all about. Take my recipes and go, I think this would make Rob's recipe a little better. I want to try this. All of my recipes came from someone else's ideas and then I added to them. That's the fun of cooking. Also, keep in mind, if you see me cooking for, say, servings of 2 or 4, and you're like, wait a minute, I have to serve 12 people, just triple everything. Also, if you get overwhelmed by the measurements, Google is fantastic at helping you with the conversions. Another trick, if you're using an oven and you only have one oven, remember, if you put more than one thing in that oven, everything cooks slower. And finally, remember the most important thing about having fun when you're cooking: alcohol. Let's cook. All right, maggots, next in our line of holiday cooking series isn't even about cooking, it's about carving. The bird is done. It's been roasted to perfection. Remember, you let it sit for 5 minimum, preferably 15 minutes. And then it's time to carve it, which is so intimidating to so many people. In fact, to be honest, I haven't carved a turkey in years, because usually what I do is I cook them and then I make my guests help out. Brandon's always one of them. My dad, Dawn's husband, Dum Dum. Hey, Gary! First of all, by the way, we don't carve it at the table. I think that's dumb. What is this, Christmas Vacation?
It takes too long.
It does take too long. Everybody's sitting there watching you like you're an idiot and a circus clown.
I just want to eat.
So we carve it, and while everybody else is carving, I'm finishing up mashed potatoes, gravy, other people are helping out with the side dishes, things like that. So however you want to do it, you want to do it. But a lot of people are intimidated. Now, in terms of how you carve it, you can use a variety of things. Electric knives, or I don't care, whatever you're comfortable with. My dad loves an electric knife. You're more traditional.
I just love a regular, straightforward knife.
All right, so I grabbed a couple of different knives. You got the really big boy and kind of the more carving knife.
I usually go for the carving knife.
You like the more carving knife, you want to sharpen that up?
Sure.
And then, of course, you might want to use a fork. Now, the reason for the fork, by the way, is not to poke at it, because that's just going to let the juices out. The fork you may or may not use after you carve something to place it onto the platter, or you can use tongs as well. So at this point, I'm going to turn it over to Brandon. My understanding is usually you start with the legs or the wings, or do you just go right to the breast?
I usually start with the breast and then I work my way out.
By all means, show us how you do it. We got your spine right here, right?
Right, so you want to work around the spine. So you start on either side, but you want to find the spine and then you want to go just outside of it, because you want to get as much meat off the bone as possible. And usually, when it's been cooking this long, it's pretty easy because the meat will just fall right off the bone. See, now I hit the left side of the breast there, so now I can just find the other side. Cut down the middle. And that gives me a guide. And you should just be able to cut right through the bottom.
Oh,
hear those bones cracking?
Oh, I love cracking bones. Notice what he's doing with his thumb. That's to hold the skin on. Yeah, because otherwise the skin's gonna pull as he's cutting. You don't want to do that. You want to make for good presentation.
And if you go all the way down, then you'll find that all the body parts are just gonna start falling apart. So you can see the legs coming off here, and then you're gonna be able to find the joints and the shoulders for the wing. So I go down as far as I can to get the rest of this breast out. And you can kind of wiggle around the wing. And when you find that joint,
this is where the manhandling comes in.
Yeah, this is where the fun part comes in.
You feel like a caveman. Twist that thing.
Break the arm right off.
Oh, yeah.
And then you use the knife. There you go. Then you got a wing. So I said I start with the breasts.
That's a man's wing.
And I pulled off a wing. But that's just kind of how you go. You just feel it out, and you get all the meat off the bones as best as you can.
So you're gonna cut the whole breast off and then turn it into slices.
Yeah, because I think for presentation purposes, you get the whole thing off, then you can just have that big one piece.
By the way, notice,
meat.
Here we are closest to the bone. We're not gonna serve this, but look at this. Translucent, that's a little raw, you wouldn't wanna serve that. That's okay, because this isn't getting served. Remember, none of this is getting served either. All these veggies are getting thrown away. Perfectly cooked here. Here's the piece of breast that he cooked, or that he cut rather. All of this is gorgeous. A little bit of this is gonna get shaved off. This is where people get skeeved out. Oh my God, it's not done. No, this particular little thing right here is not done. In fact, I'm just gonna step in and do this. This is what I would do. I would get rid of that, and then as he slices this up and he gets down there, this one little piece is probably not gonna get served, but this is beautiful, perfect, gorgeously cooked turkey. People get so freaked out because we've been told, oh, we can't have any pink. There's just a little bit of pink here. Don't serve that. Give that to your dogs. Make soup out of it. Stop freaking out. That's perfectly cooked.
And then I'm just gonna go ahead and take, before I cut this up, I'm just gonna pull that to the side and then take the rest of this leg off of the left side. Man, this has been cooking long enough that it's just coming right out of the sockets. Now, some people like to have the caveman leg? Mm-hmm. So you can even pull it apart. You don't even need a knife. See, hear that bones cracking?
Hello, man.
Then you get to the tendon, you gotta use a knife. And this is where all the dark meat will go off to the side.
Yeah, we'll serve, so at Williams Manor, we'll serve this as a perfectly cooked drumstick because the meat's cooked perfectly. And what I'll do is I'll take this and throw it into a pot to make soup. Because first of all, it's slightly undercooked, plus I don't have a lot of dark meat fans, and this is gonna make amazing soup and broth later.
Oh, and one of the best things about carving the turkey is that you get to taste it.
Hello.
Right off the bat.
Oh man.
Oh, that's good. That is a perfect turkey.
Oh man.
The carving table is the best spot in the house.
Salt forward seasoning, so tender and juicy. That is exactly what it's supposed to taste like and feel like.
Oh yeah.
And that's the thing. That is back to the number one complaint that people have at Thanksgiving. The feel. They don't understand it, but that's why they say it's dry and they go, at least I have gravy. This thing is so juicy. I know it's a cliche. It's literally melting in your mouth when you try it. More manliness.
It's an awkward bird.
This is a great demonstration. And this is another reason you don't do it at the table. It's not supposed to be a presentation. It's not a show. We're not a Benihana. The point is to get the meat onto the platter and present a perfectly cooked turkey. And sometimes you run into bones and problems and birds that won't cooperate, and you just have to be patient and cut it up to get the meat on the table.
And it's not the case here, but if your turkey's undercooked and you can't figure that out until you just carve it on the table, that'd be really embarrassing.
Yep.
You don't want to show everybody that you suck at cooking.
This is interesting too, because here's the other side of the breast. No translucence. This is all perfectly edible. This is juicy, wonderful. This is gonna be so good. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Oh, that is so good.
All right, get the rest of these
Man.
extremities off, and then I'll get to the good stuff.
Don't be afraid to manhandle it like he is either. Get dirty, roll it around. We're gonna clean the whole area up, either before or after dinner. Big deal.
And you don't do anything with the back meat? You don't put it in your stock or anything?
Oh yeah, I use it for
Carcasses?
stock meat, yeah.
Okay.
I don't serve it to the guests, but I do use it for the stock that we make.
Another.
And you can
Caveman leg.
Yeah, you can present this however you want. If you want to go leg, wing, meat in the middle. You want to try to recreate the turkey on a plate, whatever. Depends on how pretentious you want to be. And all of this is going on while everyone else is finishing up the side dishes, getting their drinks ready. This is where you're calling people to the table. It's gonna take a good 5 to 15 minutes to get the turkeys carved, closer to 15 than 5. Depends on how many turkeys you have, how many people you have helping out. You don't wanna rush it. You don't wanna make people feel rushed. This is where we're just getting everybody comfortable to get ready to eat. The bird right now is still quite warm. It'll be fine once it gets to the table. And again, you're gonna add in hot gravy, and all that anybody really cares about is how good it tastes.
Oh yeah.
Here's another good wing. There you go. So if you want to do presentation, there you go. Drumstick, wing, and then we're gonna put all of the breast meat right in the middle. You put it to the table, you pass it around.
So you could go around here and pick all the good meat off of here, or you could just save it for the carcass like Rob does and boil it down for stock for next year.
Yeah, so while Brandon's cutting up the breast, what I'm gonna do with this is literally what Brandon said. I'm gonna keep the vegetables in it. I'm gonna throw all of this into a big pot. I'm gonna cover it with water and stock, and I'm gonna cook this thing down for hours, which is gonna create that great, deep turkey broth stock that you can use for soup, or you can use the following year to make your gravy. So that right now goes in a plastic bag and nobody touches it.
So now you just want to slice up your breast. Traditionally, when you have larger parties, or if you want to make some sandwiches, you just want to go with the standard friendly slices. Try the best you can to keep the skin on there.
And again, the trick is your left hand in this case, if you're right-handed like Brandon, is holding the skin on, so a little bit of pressure to as best you can. And don't worry about if the skin starts to flop off or fall off, because when you serve it, you can serve it with the skin, and people are going to be able to get some in every bite.
Oh, that looks so good.
And you're seeing there the herbs and the other flavors that we added into the bird.
Yeah.
And then you can try to be as pretty as you want.
Close enough.
It is close enough.
Get that there.
Perfect. Then that is the exact perfect serving technique. And now if you want to get really anal, you try to go back in and you try to go, oh, well, this skin should look like this. And, oh, I want to get a skin on every slice. I don't really care. We don't really work like that around Williams Manor, but if you want to try to get the skin on, big freaking deal. Good for you. Yeah, waste the time. At this point, everybody wants to eat. Because by now the Cowboys are probably winning 31-0. We're bored with football. We're all drunk. Not Brandon.
Nope.
But we're ready to eat.
Oh, I'm so ready to eat. This is so good. All right. Look at that. Knife's a little slippery after you get all the juices on there. And voila.
And then whatever you want to use in terms of the serving utensil, you can use a fork if you want and just put it on there, or you can use some tongs if you want and put it on there. There's one entire turkey perfectly carved. And then at this point, it's all to what you're comfortable with. If you have a home where nobody's going to be around in the kitchen, don't worry about cleaning up. Just go have fun and eat. If you have to clean up, you can pick everything up, throw it into the sink. What we're going to do is we're going to leave everything here. We're going to go to the dining room and we're going to eat an amazing turkey. And a perfectly carved one as well, I might say.
Well, thank you, sir.
Hope this was helpful.